into Beltway Radio and beyond, which can mean one and only thing. You gotta ring it more.
Show me your tits.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just
That's
for
what
you.
It says. That's what it says.
Well, this is ChipChat. Welcome to ChipChat, everybody. I'm Chip. Tez is not here tonight. D, who are you?
I am D Jones, also known as D Stilled. And yes, happy to be here.
Welcome. So, of course, you're here. It's been a while since you've been here.
Yeah, it has been a while.
You're all the way up to co-host now.
Yes, I'm
What
coming
a
up in the
promotion.
ranks. Well, technically, I have a show that I also co-host on. So
Yeah, you've been a co-host of other places,
yes,
but now you're a co-host
but here. I've now upgraded from
You
guest
started
to
off
co-host.
as like junior audience member,
This is true.
like
And like also
almost
fill
10
in
years
co-host because
ago.
I would fill in on my mom's show. And she
Yeah,
still
that's
had
true.
brunch bitches too. So
yeah. So you have some radio experience.
a wee bit.
Yeah. So welcome.
Thank you.
We
Good to
have
see you.
a ton of stuff to cover.
Yes, I saw.
So we have to get to all of it. We are going to find out what's good in Virginia, what smells good in Maryland, and we have a very special list time. You ready for the first bad joke?
Yes.
Also, Brooks, a whole lot more. That's like the most Maryland joke you can make. It's terrible.
Oh my God. You're such a dad.
I'm very proud of that.
You're such a dad.
We even have some Matt Gaetz news, which of course we do. So, yeah, it's going to be a packed
Matt
show.
Gaetz, is that an athlete?
No.
Who is Matt Gaetz?
He thinks he is, maybe. He is a congressman from Florida who happens to fancy young ladies.
That's why I read his name. I was gonna say I know I've read this name somewhere, but I like to.
He likes to Venmo them, for their services.
I try to block certain things out of my
Yeah,
brain.
I would
Got
highly
it.
advise that.
Yeah. Okay.
Like most everything on
Mr.
the show.
Gates.
Actually.
Oh, good.
Not consume anything we're about to do. So now, traditionally on this show, since all the way back to the time when Larry and I would do the show, we said grab some buds, it's Miller time, and then InBev and SAB Miller merged, and then so we claimed that we caused that. So
Well, hey,
yeah, so we're
all connected through the universe.
yeah. So we're gonna do the word. So you have to come up with a word. So I'm gonna say grab some, and then you're gonna say the word, and then I'm gonna say my word, and we're gonna see if it turns out into something real. Okay?
No, it doesn't need to be in the realm of drink.
No, it can be anything you want. Just so think of anything, any word that's gonna be your word. I have to think of a word. I have not thought of a word.
Are we talking brands? Like
brands is
using
good.
brands?
Foods is good. Music's good. Like ideas is good. I've got a word, so I think I'm ready.
Okay.
So
Hold on.
let's see.
Do I have a word? Okay.
Yeah, you gotta come up. You got one?
I have a word.
Okay, we stalled long enough. Good. All right. So sit back, grab some.
Whiskey.
It's 2025 time. You're listening to the best show, the only show, Chip Chat on Beltway Radio and beyond. Sweeps. So now it's time for list time. So we all, growing up, we played a game that taught us about geography and social studies and a cappella music called Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego, right? You remember they had the band Rockapella
was about to say, okay.
The theme song.
Wow. Now that was before my time,
You can sing it.
Mom.
I bet you've learned the song, though.
Okay, I wouldn't be able to sing that at this point.
You should have been watching it. It was on PBS.
I was watching
guarantee
but I wouldn't be able to tell you the song at this point in time. Because that wasn't one of the shows that was like among my favorites in my brain.
So it goes, and there was a video game too that actually predated the show. It was a very slow paced sort of You could play it on a 386 kind of video game.
I was gonna say one of those pixelated type.
Yeah,
of
it was just all text-based, really. But the idea is that you were chasing the super criminal, Carmen Sandiego, around the world, and the way you caught up to her was by solving questions about geography. And they gave you a Fodor's guide, came with the game, believe it or not, and you were supposed to find things in this and learn about the country that the Fodor's was from.
I love this.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
You're supposed to walk away learning stuff.
I learned a lot. So now
like games have that same kind of vibe.
So the song went like, "Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego?" It went like that.
Okay.
So you have to remember that.
Okay.
Because we're gonna play a game, less educational game, called "Where in the World is Aaron Rodgers?" Now, a lot of people might know that current Jets great is missing.
Yeah, I had no clue that he was missing until I read this. So where the hell? Okay.
Yeah, so Aaron Rodgers played three snaps last year.
Three snaps.
Was he injured or something? What was the problem?
Yeah, the fourth snap was his Achilles tendon. And so he didn't end up really playing for the Jets at all. And it's been very funny to sort of refer to him as Jets great when he's not. So, current Jets great and maybe future January 6th attacker Aaron Rodgers hasn't shown up for his mandatory Jets training camp. Everyone's trying to figure out where he is. So we, of course, put our crack reporting team on the case to figure this out. These are the possibilities that they have turned up for us. Do you want to get the first one?
Sure. Okay. So possibility number one is that he may be in Albuquerque because that's his iPhone. Wait. Sorry, y'all. Okay, he may be in Albuquerque because his iPhone autocorrects. That's what his iPhone autocorrects to when he tries to spell ayahuasca.
Yes. Yes.
And so it may have sent him to Albuquerque.
Yes, correct.
That was what he wanted to do.
He wanted ayahuasca,
but then he went to
Albuquerque, New Mexico somehow. Aaron was spotted in Green Bay not too long ago, asking if Jordan Love maybe wanted to switch with him. That's the current Packers quarterback.
I was getting ready to say, okay, Jordan Love actually just got hip to recently.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, another possibility is that some people are speculating he might be in Egypt based on how he deserted his team.
Yes. Deserted. Yes, there you go. You got it. Brilliant. All right, the Jets sent their scouts to look for him, but as is typical of a Jets scout, all they found was subpar talent and Rex Ryan in a gutter.
Oh,
that's a very inside football joke, and I am very proud of that.
Say, you got to remind me of who Rex Ryan is.
He is their former coach, Jets' former coach, and weirdo.
His name
is Rex Ryan. His dad was Buddy Ryan.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They're a family set up to be weirdos.
Yeah. And
Rex
he's
and
apparently
Buddy?
into feet. It's like a weird thing. There was videos of him with his wife and feet. And
Rex or Buddy?
Rex.
Okay.
And his brother's a coach too.
Is he also into feet?
I don't know. What's his brother?
I think it's Ron Ryan.
Ron
Ryan, Buddy Ryan, and Rex Ryan.
Yeah.
Rex Ryan.
Just lock them all up.
First of all, Ron Ryan sounds like he has like
Before
a
we came
porn
ahead,
studio somewhere.
Yeah.
Just put them in jail.
Yeah.
We already know. Just lock them
I
up.
can't. Oh God. Okay. Another possibility is that he could be hiding at Mark Sanchez's house, knowing the Jets would never look there again.
Yes. It's very funny.
Oh my God.
All right. Rodgers might be at Mar-a-Lago behind all the boxes in the bathroom because that shower curtain did look a little out of place in those photos.
My God. And like former Packers greats with a weird connection to right-wing conspiracies, he's taking dick pics and sending them to reporters he kind of knows.
That's correct. Brett Favre famously sent dick pics to random reporters.
That's great.
Yeah.
Like, was it a specific gender? Or was
Yeah,
he
there were
an equal
lady
opportunity
reporters.
offender?
But,
Okay. Just curious.
This dick! I don't know why anybody does that. I don't know whoever it's never
Men
worked
in
once.
the room, why the unsolicited dick pics? Why do it?
I have never done
Have you
this.
ever sent an unsolicited dick pic?
No,
Okay.
not even a solicited one. I would never do this.
But you wouldn't send one upon request?
I've been,
Who
married
does
since the days of Nokia 5100 phones. So I have no idea what this would be like. But I don't.
Okay.
I just can't see the logic in this working. Like, and also there's so many risks.
There's so many risks.
So many risks, and but the unsolicited dick pic.
Yeah, I mean, but the thing about it is, especially if it's coming unsolicited, they're not going to put their face in it. So I think for men,
But
it's
it's
like
from
minimal
their phone
risk.
number. Maybe.
They don't care.
Yeah, clearly not. Look,
give a
you're a
damn.
woman. You exist on the internet. Have you been sent
Sent
various?
unsolicited? Absolutely, unfortunately.
What is the reaction?
I usually giggle when I put it in my group chat. All of my yeah, I've got two
you have a
girlfriends
comment
and a good
per-
Judy that I share the pictures with, that we giggle and I send it to my girls and my gay,
Yeah.
and we have a giggle.
Do any of the people who send you the dick pics have any idea how way off they are?
Not until they don't get a response. Or I'll just send like the two big eyes emojis and nothing else. like my mom won't respond at all.
You get them too? Yeah.
Sometimes I want the extra giggle, and so I'll just send the eyes, because you really don't know what to take from the eyes. That could be given that I'm
Could
actually
be like,
looking.
oh, I'm so impressed.
Right. Or it could be like, oh, show me more, if you're a creep and you want to interpret it that way. Or it could be like, what did I just receive?
Oh my
Why did you
God.
send it? Which for me is usually,
Holy shit,
why
look
did
at
I
that.
receive
Yeah.
it? Holy shit. You just sent me a picture I didn't ask for.
All right. Let's see. We're still looking for Aaron Rodgers, by the way. We took a little tangent down the dick pic.
Down the dick
down
aisle.
the dick pic rabbit hole.
Yeah, it really went on. Oh my
But let's go. Let's see. He's the dog on The Masked Singer. That's how that show works? I don't know. I've never seen that show. I think it's a
A
thing.
celebrity disappears, and then
then
you
they
may
show
or
up
may
on-
not recognize their voice, and they're singing.
Is there a
and
dog on that show, Brian?
there's
You got a clip?
auto-tune.
Is that real?
I'm pretty. Yeah, they show up as like animals
everyone's
and
dressed up in
fantastical
furries.
characters.
I totally
Like
guessed at this.
fairies
I had
and-
no idea.
I don't watch the Masked
Yeah, I
Singer,
don't either.
But I
God.
use.
The joke.
I did. I just guessed at it. I was like, it's probably their dog.
It's Claire something.
There's
There's a dog.
probably a dog on that show.
Yeah, there's got to be. There's a dog. There's like a frog. There's a fairy. There's things.
You and your oil can.
I know that that Dr. Ken Jeong yells things on that show because
No,
I see
he doesn't.
I see
Really?
that the promos, during football games, and they're like, he stands up and he goes, "You're so and so." Oh, but I don't know.
Well, look.
I haven't watched
See.
a minute of that show.
Yeah, no, me neither. I catch the clips when they pick a winner and all of that type of stuff. Okay, so
All right,
final place that he could
number
possibly
9.
be
No,
is
it's not the final.
well.
It's number 9.
No, we're on number 9. Oh, I thought we were on number 10.
Yeah, number 9.
Ooh, child. Aaron was recently spotted hiking in the Himalayan mountains, since it's the only way he could get higher. Oh, God. Oh, my God. Does he do drugs?
He does a lot of drugs, and like,
How does he still get to play professional football?
so he doesn't do any of the banned drugs. He does.
What?
He does like ayahuasca and mushrooms and stuff.
Okay, so he's allowed to do psychedelics.
I guess so. I don't.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know how the rules don't apply to Aaron Rodgers. Like, it's mandatory practice, and he hasn't showed up, and
And so
nobody's
he gets
talking
to
about
stay,
firing him.
I
But
was about
also,
to say he gets to stay home. He gets to keep
he's a
his job.
Super Bowl champion. He's a future Hall of Famer. The guy's an amazing quarterback. He's also just a weirdo, like super weird.
So are people not worried about him?
No, I think we're all very
Like-
worried about him
Okay,
because
now I'm like,
sometimes he,
could he be in a cave somewhere high up ayahuasca, like
yeah,
fending for his life because he got lost?
or like in a sweat lodge with Joe Rogan. I mean, there's so many possibilities.
which sounds very frightening.
Yeah. He could be, for example, trying out to be Trump's VP by housing cheeseburgers and pegging Eric with cans of Diet
Oh
Coke.
my God!
Which is definitely how you
Not
get to be
pegging
the VP.
Eric.
Yeah. Well, he's a quarterback.
God,
He's good at
yeah.
throwing.
Ooh, yikes!
You can interpret pegging as
Pause.
however you want to interpret that. I
I
meant
mean, there's only one place my mind would go.
I meant in the wiffle ball sense, but sure, whatever.
Wow.
D.
See, I don't know shit about wiffle ball, so my brain went
You just
immediately to
peg him
kink.
with the ball.
Wow.
That's where that word
No.
comes from.
That's with cans of Diet.
Yeah, sure.
Now, see, yeah. Never mind. I'm not going to tell y'all where my brain went. Okay.
All right, here's what we're gonna do. You want to take a break, Brian?
Can if you want to.
We can. Let's take a break. recombobulate our Diet Coke cans.
Not recombobulate.
And figure out what we're going to do.
Before we get to pegging with them, Lord
Before
God.
something else happens around here. Before somebody gets pegged.
Yikes.
Good Lord. All right. You're listening to Chip Chat on Beltway Radio and beyond. Sweeps. Beltway Radio and beyond. I'm your host, Chip. With me tonight is D Still.
D Still in the mic.
So, was it last week, Brian? 2 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, we had a candidate on the show. S.N. Nasser was on the show, and he was running in Virginia's 11th district in the primary against Jerry Connolly. The election took place on the 18th, which is a couple days ago.
2 days ago.
He didn't win, which, I don't think anybody thought he was going to win.
Looking at the numbers. Oh, he didn't. He wasn't projected to do great.
Oh no, not even close. Connolly's incumbent, very well liked.
Connolly looks very Virginian,
popular guy. But Essen came on the show. He did a really good job, and I dare say those 6,000 votes definitely got helped by this show. So
And so, what was his
14%.
what was he running on? What was his campaign?
Well,
His
I would
thing?
encourage everybody to go back and listen to that episode if you
Okay.
wanted to. But
Yes, there's a lot of clips, people.
there's a lot
Okay,
of clips.
okay,
Brian worked
okay.
really hard on all those clips.
Love it. Okay, I will go.
Which
back.
we published ad nauseum before the election to try to,
Yeah,
just to
Get the
level
message
playing
out
field.
there. Yeah.
So basically, we did try to ask him like how he would vote differently than Connolly
Mhm.
on anything. It's not a lot of daylight. Which
Oh, okay.
I mean, you're a Northern Virginia Democrat. Like you're gonna vote mostly the same way, right?
Yeah.
Codify Roe, voting rights. Like I don't know, fund education. Like it's not like
Yeah.
it's not like he's gonna come out here and is like, well, the big difference is I want tax cuts for rich people. Like no,
Right.
that's not.
right,
He's
right.
not gonna do that, and nobody would vote for him.
I
if
was
that was
getting
the
ready
case.
to say nobody would even. Yeah.
Yeah, nobody in that neighborhood would vote for him. So, but anyway, shout out. He did pretty well for a campaign run by exactly 3 people, launched
Okay.
just a few weeks before the election.
Wow.
Put the effort in.
Interesting. Okay.
And he got almost 6,000 votes. So,
That's not nothing.
no, it's not nothing. We asked him to come back on the show later.
Okay.
So hopefully we'll get him on. I would like to have him on after November's election so that he can kind of break down whatever happens there,
Yeah.
as a former candidate. Because now, having run,
Mm-hmm.
he gets to be a pundit.
Now I have so many questions. So yeah, I'm gonna go back and watch the episode.
Yeah.
Now I want to know how long he's been like in
Well, we
politics
can also just
or
get
whatever.
him on. Oh, not at all.
Not at all.
No.
Okay, that's what I was
He
wondering.
was a GAO lawyer for a long time.
Got it.
He's also a
okay.
lieutenant colonel in the Army Reserve.
Okay.
Smart guy.
Yeah.
Just
Just first time politician.
right. Interesting. A lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of different experiences.
I can imagine.
So we'll be happy to have him back.
Especially when we're talking like ethnicities and things. So.
All right, this next segment is called Not So Good.
Yikes.
Yeah. So here's what we're going to talk about. In Virginia's primary, right, which again that was 2 days ago. There's a district. I don't remember what number is 5th. Virginia's 5th.
Yeah, it's 5th District.
So this is the area sort of in central Virginia, west of Richmond, and in the Charlottesville-ish area. Okay?
Okay.
Until a few years ago, this was represented by a guy named Denver Riggleman, who you may know because he...
What a name.
What a name. But he also owns a whiskey distillery.
What's the name of the distillery?
Riggleman? Maybe?
I
don't
heard of a
remember.
Riggleman whiskey.
No, we'll have to look it up. But
Denver
Riggleman.
Denver
Yeah.
Riggleman.
He's a former military or intelligence guy, and then
he would need to be with that name.
Then he became a distiller, and then he became a
Name
congressman.
Okay.
And,
former representative Denver Riggleman.
Yeah, see what
He looks like a Riggleman.
What's the name of his
Let me
whiskey
see.
outfit
Quick
there?
Facts.
You should know that.
Well, no, because his whiskey's never crossed my desk.
What if it turns out it has and it was terrible and you?
I know.
wanna-
Silverback Distillery.
Yeah, do you know them?
Yikes! No.
No, that's a little
Thank
iffy,
God.
right?
Now I'm about to ask Blake if Silverback has ever reached out to us.
Well,
Oh,
maybe we
God.
can do a taste test. We can get him on. You can reach out to him from a whiskey perspective,
Oh.
and then we can, sneak the
I
politics
don't
in
know
on
if I want to. I don't know if I want to be friends with
him.
Silverback.
Well, you kind of do want to be friends with this guy because
Do I?
here's
Okay.
the thing.
Okay, that's what I was about
He,
to ask.
he was a pretty conservative Republican,
Mhm.
but he was ousted from his seat. He got primaried by a guy named Bob Good
Bob.
yeah,
Good. Sounds like
4
he's
years
up to no
ago.
Good.
because he committed the mortal sin of officiating a wedding for one of his staffers who happens to have married somebody who is the same sex as
I knew
that
it was going to be
staff.
okay.
Yes.
Wow.
So because he performed a wedding of
Because
people
he
who
was
love
not
each other.
prejudiced against
Because he
a
wasn't
same-sex relationship.
militantly anti-gay, they voted him out.
Wow.
And they replaced him with this guy named Bob Good, who is not good.
Right.
He is the chair of what's called the House Freedom Caucus. This is the Tea Party idiots that got
House Freedom
rid of,
Caucus.
that call themselves the Freedom Caucus.
How ironic, because they want freedom for no one but themselves.
That's
okay.
very clear. Yes, they have a very specific set of freedom that they.
Like,
3/5
freedom
of the
is
time
very
they mean-
relative with these people.
Yeah.
Like,
The other
The
2/5 of
goalposts
the
will
time
forever
is not.
shift.
So, and Bob Good is like the Trumpiest of Republicans you can imagine in the House, right?
Looks like
His
it.
job is to vote against anything, and he's just a bomb thrower and crazy idiot. But
And
he
these are the
faced-
people that make their way into office.
yeah,
Blows my mind.
well, he's facing this crazy primary challenge by a guy named McGuire. I don't remember, John McGuire.
And here's
And
the
you
results
might-
as of now. It's not final because it's too close to call.
Still too close to call.
Wow. Oh,
So
yeah,
you might
49.7.
You might say,
and
like,
50
well, wait, who is this John McGuire, like, reasonable and, maybe trying to restore order to the district so you
doesn't
can
look
get a
like
run-of-the-mill, sort of Reagan Republican in there?
No.
No. Here's what happened. During the presidential primary, Bob Good supported Ron DeSantis for, like, 5 minutes. It was like, yo, we should have DeSantis because he will still oppress all of the people we want to oppress,
Uh-huh.
but he could get elected. And
Thank God that didn't happen.
yeah, but that also put Mr. Good on the bad side of Trump, who called him a traitor
Oh.
and told everybody they should not vote for him.
Okay.
So along comes John McGuire, and he's like,
Okay.
I'm the one that Trump likes. And Bob Good is like, I'm the one that actually is in Congress and votes with the guy all the time.
Right.
And Trump was like, no, Bob Good's a traitor, vote for McGuire.
Oh, God.
And they're separated by less than 300 votes at the moment.
I mean, because really they both stand for all the same shit.
Yes.
It's just one person decided to nod towards another individual. This is, oh, God. It's the white on white crime for me.
It
I
is,
can't.
right?
I can't.
So
It's
clearly
too
the
much.
voters of Virginia's 5th and the Republican voters of Virginia's 5th, I should say, are like, this isn't a policy debate. It's not about
This is like-
how anybody's going to behave when they get to Congress. This is all about loyalty to one person.
To one person. It is, ugh.
Yeah, that white on white crime
the
is
fact that our
terrible.
politics is deduced to such a petty and like
Yeah.
childish level, it's so like base, is so scary.
So in classic Trump fashion, of course, John McGuire declared victory on election night despite the fact that nobody had declared that the race was over.
Correct. Like,
But my favorite
but
part of
very
this-
Trump fashion.
Is that, they were counting votes Tuesday, and it got to midnight, and then they had to stop counting votes because it was Juneteenth. And that's a
I was
holiday
gonna
in
say,
Virginia.
did they have to?
So all the election workers had to stop working.
The irony.
Yeah, it's
I love it
delicious.
so much. It is delicious.
Counting could be at least delayed until Thursday because Virginia observes the federal Juneteenth holiday, so ballots are not expected to be tallied Wednesday, according to the Associated Press.
You are welcome, people. You are welcome.
It's delayed
Or are
just a little bit.
Because this is very, but you know what? And it really sucks that my brain goes here, but it's like, do we leave it open for like some weird mischievous shit to happen with the vote?
No.
In the interim, because like, are people still doing like hand ballots or anything?
Yes.
Like, so yeah, I just think about all the conspiracies and
Well, those guys
the
are lying
scandal-esque
and-
type of
and,
dynamics.
Fox News had to pay $1 billion for lying about voter conspiracies and stuff.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
$1 billion.
So we're going to be very clear that we don't think Dominion did anything wrong, and their voting machines are super accurate.
Hallelujah.
But yeah, no, I don't think there's anything nefarious or anything going on. It's just that, we're talking about a primary. It's very few votes, and it's, it's going to come down to these really tiny margins, counting all
Yeah.
the mail-in ballots and all that
Oh
kind of stuff.
God, how nail biting.
Yeah, but it's just funny to watch them eat themselves, really.
Right. It's
You
really,
know?
that's why it's giving white on white crime, because it's just y'all against each other, but really y'all have all the same principles. It's kind of dumb.
So, speaking of other local races, as you know, as a lot of people know, Angela Alsobrooks, who is the Prince George's County executive, she won the primary against David
Oh,
Trump
yes,
to
okay.
go on to run for Maryland Senate. She's facing former Governor Larry Hogan. It's going to be a tight race. For sure, Larry Hogan is very well liked in Maryland, despite
Yeah.
the fact that he has an R next to his name, because he was elected twice statewide as governor. He worked pretty well with the legislature there in Annapolis, and people, in Maryland, sort of generally positive opinion of Larry Hogan. I don't know anybody who doesn't
I've
like him.
heard pretty good things now since I've become a Maryland voter and Maryland resident. I've heard good things about Larry Hogan.
Yeah.
So nobody's giving me the indication there's any pressure to get him out of his position.
Well,
So,
yeah, it's hard to hate Larry Hogan, but does matter because we're talking about the Senate, we're talking about numbers, we're talking about control.
Mm-hmm.
So Angela Alsobrooks is running, and somebody decided that, you know, she needed a makeover.
People are assholes. So
Yeah, go ahead. Read it out.
So wait. Close to the little, where are we?
She had a meeting on Monday
Yes.
with
Here we go.
Ben Cardin and who's current senator from Maryland, who is stepping down, and Jewish leaders on Monday, and they were, you know, together, and somebody went out and did some work on her campaign signs.
Yes. So now her image features 2 additions in black ink: the letters KKK near her hands and crosshairs drawn on her forehead.
Yeah.
My God.
Yeah.
So, but why did she get?
Well, you know, she's a black woman hanging out with Jewish people. The KKK was like,
wow.
They sprung several boners. They couldn't handle themselves.
Not several boners.
They couldn't
They
handle
couldn't
it.
wait to vandalize some shit
Yeah,
in
they're like,
response
oh,
in response to you hanging out
get
with
the
whoever you.
Sharpies. Come on, Cletus.
Because you can't be in Maryland with all them pitchforks. So
Yeah, right?
You gotta have Sharpies. Maybe a can of paint
Yeah.
at best. But the pitchforks you gonna get put out real quick. Like,
So what's really funny is that, like, you know, she handled this. She's a real politician. She knows how to. She's like, you know, it's terrible. We
Right.
you know, we try to
haters gonna hate.
Hating's bad, and we don't want to do this and all that kind of thing. But like the police department, public information officer Brian Fisher said police are investigating the incident. Quote, "We don't know whether it was a hate crime, whether it was vandalism. We don't know that yet." Yeah, it was a hate crime.
I'm sorry.
it's a hate crime.
KKK, and you don't know if it's vandalism.
It is vandalism. It's
by
very definitely
law,
that.
it's vandalism.
But it
We've
is also
already-
definitely a hate
hate
crime.
crime.
It couldn't be more clear.
The hate group
Yeah.
identified themselves
Yeah.
in the vandalism.
Yeah.
So what are we unclear about?
I don't know.
This is why people want to defund the
Maryland,
police as it is.
I don't know. Maryland Democratic Party, of course, said it was a racist threat, which, no shit. I mean,
Clearly.
it's bad. Don't do that.
KKK and crosshairs, first of
I
all.
want to know how them guys got down to PG County, though. Because, like, if they were up in Thurmont or Frederick or, you know, Western Maryland, or, you know, it's like, all right, I get it. You know, that's who's up there.
Right.
But how did they get to Prince George's County?
Literally, it's got the most black people and
It's the
wealthy
wealthiest black
people
county in the country.
in the country. How do y'all get away with this?
I don't know how they walk around there.
Do you feel like maybe someone vandalized it and put KKK, but they're not actually members of the KKK?
So that's the possibility, right?
Yeah.
Is that it's like
Could have been framing the KKK.
yeah, maybe it was like Byron Donalds' friends or something like that. You know, Tim Scott's buddies,
Like,
Uncle Ruckus,
why are we framing
one of
the
them.
KKK?
You know, can walk around in PG County looking like they belong there, and then sneak up and do
then
this
sneak
stuff.
up and do some wild shit,
Yeah.
and then put the KKK.
Or it could be
back.
like kids who think this is funny because it's obviously so offensive and it draws a reaction.
It sounds like something a Gen Zer would do,
Yeah,
just
but
because
that's
they're
awful.
so far removed from like the significance of what these groups mean,
Yeah, that's
and,
true.
and the like, just how traumatizing these groups are, and all the things. Like Gen Z is so far removed emotionally from these.
I
things
worry
that,
about
like,
that
They
because
look at all
think
this
it's
shit as a
just funny.
joke. Like, yeah, they think it's funny.
Not funny.
No, absolutely not. And it will not be funny if y'all take it so lightly that you don't bother to show up and vote, and then they really have a chance at sending us back to that place where you had to deal with the KKK and there was nothing you could do to refute it.
And that wasn't a joke.
And then it won't be so funny.
No, it's
Like,
not funny.
They don't realize how scary that shit really is. Like,
Byron Donalds told us that black families were better off under Jim Crow.
yeah, he's a fucking moron and
But, you
needs
know.
to live under a rock.
Well, he represents
Apparently
a
does.
90% white district.
It's so insane.
Yeah, don't do
do
that
that to the rock.
That's fair. That's fair. Nobody
That's
should.
true. The Rock did not ask for that.
There are many people who want to live under the rock.
Yeah.
But Byron Donalds probably
Oh God.
because the rock's
I'm
half
just
black.
very scared for the world.
Yeah.
Is he only half? Is that what it is?
I think
and then
he's
has like
half,
a
a
white
quarter.
spice. Oh, spice.
His
a white
dad
spouse.
is black.
Okay.
The Rock. Byron Donalds' wife is definitely white. Oh yeah,
Yes.
100%.
So
yeah.
he's He's among that group.
He's a
Got it.
particular category.
Yes, he's up a certain box.
We know. We know which box he checks. All right, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take a break. When we come back, we're gonna talk to you about some things that you're an expert in, and try to learn some stuff on this here show. For once, you're listening to
No,
Chip
we
Chat
learned plenty from this show.
Beltway Radio and beyond.
Sweeps.
There you go.
I've been there, despair, living on a prayer. Been there when close friends didn't care. Been there, trying to pull it out of thin air. I've been there, yes, I've been there. I've been there, despair, living on a prayer. Been there when close friends didn't care. Been there, trying to pull it out of thin air. I've been there, yes, I've been there. Maybe you feel like nobody understands you, like you bit off a piece of meat that you can't chew. Like if you were gone, would they know that you're dead? Maybe you feel like you're in over your head, like nobody has been through it or nobody can console you. What if you were not alone? What if I told you there's many people who are feeling the same way, like they don't know how they're gonna make it through another day? I may look content, but beneath the exterior I put on a smiling face. Inside I am tearing up, and I'm supposed to be a man, which means I'm not supposed to cry. But that's really a lie, because my eyes can't help but tear when I think about the years I spent trying to hide my fears, drinking beer, smoking up, putting on a smiley face. If I was a bear, I would permanently hibernate. I remember the times I was playing with higher stakes, looking at my life, it was a mess, I was in dire straits. It can't get better, that's what I'm telling you, because there is hope available for whatever is ailing you. I've been there, despair, living on a prayer. Been there when close friends didn't care. Been there, trying to pull it out of thin air. I've been there, yes, I've been there. I've been there, despair, living on a prayer. Been there when close friends didn't care. Been there, trying to pull it out of thin air. I've been there, yes, I've been there. How would you feel if you were chronically depressed, under stress, if your best wasn't good enough? How would you feel if at any moment you could erupt, if you're dealing with this and then you're told to suck it up, get over it? Why are you so blue when your friends and family members have no clue, cause you're going through it? Another one of your moods. Everyone else seems so successful, but you feel like a failure. I know, because I've been there. I've endured mental and psychological warfare, battling with my own conception of myself. Poor mental health, when all I needed was a little help. I couldn't do it alone. My demons out of feet, but it's hard to relate if you've never been in the driver's seat. So I share everything that I have been through to inspire you to keep going and continue. I've been there, despair, living on a prayer. Been there when close friends didn't care. Been there, trying to pull it out of thin air. I've been there, yes, I've been there. I've been there, despair, living on a prayer. Been there when close.
All right, welcome back to Chip Chat here on Beltway Radio and beyond. I'm your host, Chip. With me tonight is Distilled.
Yes.
That was our friend Early Bird. And what was the name of that one, Brian?
Been there.
That's been there. There you go. Early Bird's been on the show a bunch of times. Pretty good musician, makes all kinds of great stuff. So you should go check him out.
To him.
Early with an extra E.
Yes, it's from his album Riddles, Romance, and Rainbows Remix.
There you go.
Riddles, Romance, and Rainbows Remix.
Yeah, we'll post links. So let's talk about something. I hope I get this right. It's the Ascot Awards.
Yes, the Ascot
named
Awards.
after the silly thing that the guy on the Scooby-Doo show.
And it's also an acronym for American Spirits Council of Tasters.
That's what I figured out by reading.
But Fred Minnick is known for his ascot. So
yes, right.
It's a double entendre.
Oh, okay. There you go. Thank you. She's lived all over the world, so she speaks various languages, including double entendre.
Entendre. It's the writer in me.
So the Ascot Awards is an international spirits competition created by Fred Minnick, who is like the super spirits guy.
Yeah, essentially.
One of
he's
several.
Very much kind of revered in terms of like his opinion, his palate, but he'll kind of put his name or
Is he like the
kinda
Bobby
stamp
Flay
behind.
of booze? Is that like the
kind
thing?
of, except he's not a producer of any spirits. So like Bobby Flay actually is like a chef,
Right.
And so not in the same sense that he's also of the profession of
He's like
producing
the
spirits.
super critic. Is that
Yeah, essentially, yeah,
Okay.
we could go with that.
All right, let's go with that. The competition provides a unique opportunity for various distillers. So Denver Riggleman definitely listens to the show. If you want to get in and judged for next year, there's a way to
Submit
do
to
it.
Ascot Awards.
Yeah,
Yeah,
go send in your whiskey. I checked it out. How much you have to send in? You got to pay your entrance fee, and then you have to send in like 2 750s. It's not much.
It's not super crazy, no, because it's all broken up into really small.
Yeah, you get, like, a
samples that
tiny
we
little
get,
bit.
So yeah.
Okay. But the important thing is that the spirits are judged by a council of tasters,
Yeah.
and we happen to have one of those.
One of
those,
the originals.
One
too.
of the you're one of the very first, right?
Yeah. We
Of the
started in
council.
2020.
Yeah, you've been on this for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm a little biased. The finest taster of the whole council. So D, welcome officially back to Chip Chat as a guest
Thank
now.
you so much.
Lord
Thank you
have-
so much.
Yeah, easy now. Go ahead, Brian. You want to play the sound effect? The finest taster of them all. Okay.
I love that one.
All right. So tell us first of all, explain what these awards are all about.
So what Fred really wanted to do was kind of, because there's a ton of spirits competitions. And spirits competition, all that means is there's a group of people who ideally are professionals in the adult beverage industry, whether they deal with a brand, whether they're a bartender, whether they're a producer, or something adjacent to any of those professions. And those people are put together in a room, or they're separate and remote like we are for the first round of Ascot. And basically they're using their palate and giving their opinion and applying a number rating to your spirits that you submit. And so there's a ton of these. And the thing about them is that most of them are not really transparent in terms of like who's who's the council,
Yeah,
essentially.
right.
Like, and also what the criteria is.
Okay.
And how they're going about even judging them at all. So there's not a lot of transparency in that at all.
But Ascot there is.
Yes. And so that is where the Ascot Awards is very much set apart, because not only do you see all of the council, like you can see all of our bios, you can look at all of our stuff on the website, all that type of stuff. And he actually has gone to lengths of, even though we do our first rounds, like I said, remote, and up until this year, even our finals were remote, but everybody would be on a Zoom together for our finals rounds and actually go through best of each category and best in show together, and it would all be recorded. It would be recorded.
So
and
somebody can go back and watch.
They can watch it live if they wanted to on YouTube, or they can go back and watch it once it's posted up or whatever. So it started on YouTube with the sharing of the finals. And so
Okay.
you could see how every individual goes about their criteria. Like everybody's got kind of their own process, but
They give
we
you a
all
list
kind
of like what you're supposed to judge based on?
No,
Like
not really.
Look, mouthfeel.
No.
None of that?
So how it's basically set up is you have your code number for your sample. They tell you what it is in terms
Because
of
it's
whether
all blind.
It's all blind. So they tell you if it's a small batch bourbon, a blended bourbon. They tell you if it's finished and
Right.
that
So
type of
you
stuff.
know what standard to judge against.
Exactly.
Sure.
And then they give you the proof.
They go like, this is supposed to be a poodle. Judge against the standard of the
Poodles,
poodle.
correct.
Yes, okay.
And then they give you the proof. Sometimes a reference year, but it's usually a range of years so that
Okay.
you don't attach yourself to.
You can't figure it out.
So you don't bias it based on what you think is a 10-year is supposed to taste like.
Got it.
And so that's how it's set up in terms of the samples. And then they want you to write your tasting notes and give it a score.
And then you just send it in.
Yeah.
And
And
they
you send it in.
aggregate all that and then
That's how you
assign
get the
some
best
score.
of each category that then gets condensed down. And less of there's like a small pool of us from the full council that is then we go on to judge the finals.
So if you judge like small batch bourbons and one of them wins like best in that, and then the next category up is like bourbon as a whole.
Yeah, or like single barrel bourbon as another example, or weeded bourbon.
So
Those are
then
two
do
other
you have
categories.
to retaste the same thing
Yeah.
that already won?
Next to the best of the other categories.
Because you have to really measure it
Yeah.
again.
Because then it'll go down to best bourbon, then it'll go up. So that best bourbon will go up against the best rye, up against the best single
And
malt.
then it goes up for like best
in
whiskey.
show.
Yeah, okay, I get it.
Yeah. So best in show is kind of the final.
So you might
shebang.
have to taste the same thing
like
a
2-3
dozen
times.
times.
No,
or
2-3
half a
times.
do- Well, you know,
I say
might
about
help.
3 if I come across it.
Do you
in
ever
the
need
first
help
round.
tasting any of this? I'll
I
help.
mean,
You know.
hey, I'm always down to share. I never finish my samples just because, as a habit, I can't finish everything I taste. But
Well, that's
so I'm always happy to share them because I don't like to waste them. I've turned it into an infinity barrel at this point.
so that's one of my questions is you know, do they make you spit them out or?
Well, they encourage you to
Yeah,
because you
'cause-
don't want to wind up drunk,
Yeah.
especially when you're getting recorded for these
Right.
things. So we try not to get
You don't
drunk.
want to be
so
biased. By the time you're on the last
all
sample,
gonna
you're like,
taste the
man,
same.
this is great.
if you
know?
finish everything, it's all gonna taste the same.
Yeah.
So we definitely spit, and there's crackers and all types of stuff to kind of reset your palate in between. Yeah.
What's the? I know that like pickles are like the palate cleanser. Like it's like
So we
that's how you
definitely don't do
pickleback,
pickles just
but
because
what's
it'll
the-
mess with like the acid and stuff.
Right. So what's the thing between bourbons?
Usually saltine crackers or even like those like Ritz crackers.
Oh, yeah.
Those even almonds, raw almonds.
So something sort of
club
bland
soda, and saltine crackers are my go-tos.
that
I want-
washes your palate clean.
Yeah, I like the bubbles to just completely reset my palate when it comes to club soda, and then I'll kind of follow it up with regular water because club soda will actually make you a little drunk if you lean on that alone.
Yeah.
So I have to also follow up with still water. But yeah, so anything with bubbles in it is going to send whatever is sitting in your stomach right into your bloodstream.
Right. Yeah. It pushes
Because the
it
carbon
in.
dioxide, the stomach is not really meant to
It-
process that. And so anything the stomach's not meant to digest, it just puts in your system. So bubbles, even though it's a great palate cleanser, I can't like finish a bottle of club soda because then I'll feel all of my whiskey immediately.
Got it.
So yeah, but it's a good palate cleanser though, along with some crackers.
All right. So how do you get on the council? And was there like a test or something, or is it based on your previous
So Fred
work?
just hand selected everybody. Like
So he
the
was
first,
he was
like
looking
in
at
2020
your
when
show.
he first started. So I know Fred kind of through Sealbox, and just he's somebody who's very well known in whiskey. At the time I was somebody who was becoming more known in whiskey in that space or whatever, particularly through Sealbox and doing barrel selects and that type of thing. And so he knew that I was or still am among the few individuals who write the tasting notes for what's on our website at Sealbox, because we do our own tasting notes for all
Right.
the bottles, for most of the bottles. we
And
sell.
you publish some of those. So if you watch her on
Yeah,
Instagram,
so
you can
I'll
see
do
her
the
do the
reviews
tastings
and like
explain all that
and so
stuff.
he
yeah.
knew, because we sell his barrels, he knew that I was doing tasting notes on his stuff
Gotcha.
and that I was doing tasting notes on other people's stuff on the website.
So can we apply? Can I apply to be a taster?
I don't know. I don't think that's a
I
process.
don't actually
for
have
Fred.
any qualifications. Just to be
I was
perfectly
gonna say
clear.
he literally like handpicked everybody.
So
for the
everybody on
council.
that's a lot of people.
He picked them.
That was like 25 people on
Yeah,
that list.
he picked them.
Oh
He
wow.
picked everybody. So I got an email initially from Fred himself back in 2020 asking, send me, this is what he's working on, and do I want to be a part as a taster? And I was like, hell yes.
Yes.
I didn't even care if I was getting paid. I was like,
Right.
yeah, but I want to also getting paid.
Also
very
want to
nicely.
get paid.
So, but
Should get paid
I
for your
was like,
work.
hell yes. And so, yeah, I've been a part since.
I love that. It's like a game recognized game kind of thing.
Yeah, but it's very much his energy. I found out he's also a fellow Leo, so it all made sense in the way he did this. But yeah, it's very much kind of game recognized game type of energy in terms of how he talks about it.
So, you said that you got to spit them out, but you said you end up with a little extra.
Yeah.
So what do you do with your little extras?
I have an infinity blend.
What does this mean?
So an infinity blend is when you're just taking multiple types of like all the bourbons of my
Stuff you
samples,
like.
all of them.
All.
I'm blending them all into just one master blend, and so I just have it.
And then what do you got to do with that? You have to sit it
I
in
just
a
let it
barrel or
marinate.
something?
It's been I didn't put it in a barrel because it's already most of it's already aged
Oh,
well
okay.
enough.
So you just let
And
it
so
sit there.
Everything is just marrying in glass.
That's like when you make a really dynamite lasagna or chili,
Mm-hmm.
and then you put
You
it in
let
the
that
fridge
sauce marinate.
for like a couple of days, and it's way better.
Yeah.
That's the thing,
Except
right?
this has been marinating for a little over a year now because I've just been.
Well, you have a lot more patience.
Like I'll pour some into a decanter to get some off. I'll leave some of the master blend in there, and then I'll keep topping off with new.
That is
new-
complicated.
It's not because
I
I'm not
just make
measuring them out. I'm
lasagna,
just
all
dumping
right?
them.
Yeah, well,
It's actually a lot less complicated than making lasagna
call me
because I
next
make a
time you
mean
need help.
lasagna.
Yeah,
I got you.
we can do that together.
You
We
definitely
can
got to
have
try
whiskey
this
and
blend.
lasagna.
So next time I'm on the show, I'll bring some of the Infinity blend actually. So yeah,
Join us next week when Dee will be back here
with some really strong, delicious whiskey.
Fancy whiskey. All right. So let's say we have some people listening who think they know a lot about tasting, you know, and that they're pretty good at it. What should they do to like get better at it and refine their palates and really, you know, because everybody thinks they're a bourbon expert. You drink like 2 different kinds of Jack Daniels. You're like, well, I can really taste the difference. And you're like, oh,
no, you can't.
You're not an expert and you don't know anything. Yes. How do you get to that point?
One, you have to be willing to taste everything.
Yeah. Even the bad stuff.
Even the bad stuff. You don't know what's really good until you've had something bad. Like, there are going to be people who tell you they're whiskey aficionados, but they'll only drink something that's like 10 years or older.
Yeah. That just means they like to buy expensive.
You just like expensive and old whiskey. Yeah. Dusty doesn't mean that it's better at all. Like, there are some really solid 4-year-old whiskeys out here. I did a pick on a 25-gallon barrel 4-year bourbon that drinks like it's easily 6 years old.
Let's have it, you know.
But if you're just going by the label, you don't know anything that you're talking about. You're not going to bother to try it, but then you're missing out on a really great bourbon, and you think you know something. No, you don't. Just taste everything. Be curious all the time. Like, that's the best thing you can do for yourself. Also, remember to not finish anything that you don't absolutely love, because it forces you to be more discerning. With like, oh yeah, it's good, I'll finish it. Like, I mean, no, it could be good. There's a lot of good out here.
Yeah, I'm not
good at that. But do you
one.
love it so much that you can't put it down? That's kind of how I go about even doing like barrel select sometimes. Like, sometimes I'll be overthinking it. I'm writing my notes, whatever about each barrel. But the one that I like didn't even realize that I finished and sat back down is usually the one I picked.
There's a reason
I finished that and not the other 4 on the table.
But also, I noticed that when you describe things, and everybody needs to follow your Instagram. Tell everybody the Instagram.
It is at Destilled on everything. DEESTILLED on everything.
Go follow that. I noticed that, like, the way you describe the flavors, you know, these are not always words that you would hear associated, like, with whiskey. And a lot of people, you know, like, here's the common ones, right? Vanilla, caramel, oaky, you know, round, you know,
which
smoky.
Which is texture and not flavor.
It's a lot of things. But yours are into, like, whole categories of various fruits and like certain percentage chocolates and like
it gets very new when you taste enough of a category, especially when you're tasting across regions, you're tasting across still types, whether it's a column still or a pot still or whatever. It gets very nuanced.
But you have to taste all of the things that you're comparing it to as well, so that you can use that as a reasonable comparison.
Right.
So am I getting better at tasting whiskey by eating lots of food?
Always.
See? Told you.
Always. Yeah. Like trying fresh herbs, so you actually know what thyme and rosemary tastes and feels like on your palate. Like, I'll do all of that. Not necessarily because I just love chewing on raw herbs, but I want to know exactly what I'm talking about when I catch that sensation in a whiskey, a tequila, mezcal, whatever. Like, I like to actually know what I'm
So a million years ago, when I worked in the hardware store, which is true, we started selling Jack Daniel's wood chips. Which are
sounds fun to grill with.
Yeah, they're made of the old barrels, and they bash them up, and then you can.
They're all charred up and stuff. Yeah,
and like, I got the idea that maybe I'll chew on these, and I'll catch a buzz or something.
No.
It did not give me a buzz, but it did teach me very much what oak tastes
like, and charred oak in particular.
Yeah, and I think after that, I was able to really like find that flavor,
how it's showing up in
which
the whiskey.
I liked. Yeah, and I would find it in various places, not just in whiskeys, but in all kinds of things. So, do you recommend people chew on barrels?
I mean, not necessarily. That's one way to go about it. That is one way to go about it. If you're committed to really knowing, like, I've never chewed on an oak barrel, but I have definitely smelled freshly charred oak. You know,
you weren't expecting
I've definitely
that question.
accidentally touched. Got the resin on my hands and made.
Oh yeah.
So like, but chewing on it, no, not per se.
Okay.
But I definitely recommend getting acquainted with it. So, all your other sense, I mean, especially your sense of smell, you can smell that. You'll know what that tastes like based on what you smell.
for
so
sure.
that could be enough, Maybe not chewing the log.
Little tangent on this. I had this idea several years ago. I'm not going to say whether I can or cannot produce white lightning at home.
Ooh, okay.
But let's say I
White
could.
lightning is essentially like moonshine.
Yeah, let's say I could, and it was made of mostly corn. Let's say I
Okay.
could.
So you made a corn whiskey, hypothetically.
Hypothetically. But I didn't have a barrel. I had a glass container.
Mm-hmm.
Hypothetically.
Mhm.
So I had this idea that, like, instead of putting it in the barrel where, it goes into the wood, out of the wood, into the wood, out of the wood,
Mm-hmm.
that if I got a piece of said wood and, like, say,
Oh,
charred
and
it up
just
and
chose
dropped
to
it
drop it in
in
there.
the
People
jar,
do that.
would it do the same thing?
Yes and no.
Why no?
So it's going to extract some characters from that oak for sure,
Sure,
but
yeah.
significantly less.
Because it's
And
not,
it's not
changing
gonna-
size?
Yeah, I mean, it's just going to be like a lightly infused
What if I
corn
take it
whiskey.
outside, inside, and let it change temperature a lot?
That would be an interesting
And there'll
experiment.
be no angel share because
because it's
wouldn't
not
evaporate,
because it's not
sealed up.
it's not in anything porous. Yeah, exactly. So that's a very fun experiment.
Tell you what, we're going to set
Very
it up.
fun experiment.
Hypothetically.
We're going to hypothetically
To
do
any
this.
of the revenuers who are listening, hypothetically.
Hypothetically.
Yeah. Okay.
It sounds like a great idea.
Yeah, it's a science project. Do you think that your experience as a retailer as well as a mixologist gives you a better ability to explain flavors than some of the others?
Absolutely. Also the fact that I cook.
Expand on that.
So being able to really break down flavors and even the salty, the fat, the acid, the this, to that, all of that very much applies to spirits. People talk about it, some talk about it in wine all the time.
Oh, sure.
The fattiness, the texture, the this, to that, that very much applies to spirits across all the categories too.
But somehow if we talk about it with whiskey, we're like not
Now
fancy.
you're all of a sudden pompous and
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you're like doing too much or whatever. But like, no, if you really know what you're talking about in terms of flavor, like you know what salinity tastes like. You know
Sure.
what minerality tastes like.
Sure.
You know if something is buttery and like very robust and viscous in your mouth. You know what that is. And you can still equate that to things like something having a lot of butter in a dish. Something
Sure.
like it's the same thing. You're just you speak on those notes knowing that none of those actual things are physically in the spirit.
Well, of course.
Like we know butter and salt are not in whiskey
No.
or not in a mezcal, but you know that you're still getting those things. You can still taste buttered cornbread in a whiskey for sure.
Of course.
If it's like an 80% corn mash, like you're gonna start tasting cornbread, raw corn husk, all these type of things. Like it's just what it is. It's
With
science.
those weeded ones, it smells
And
like
it's all
when I mowed the lawn. That's what, like all
Literally,
the weeded whiskey
that
smells
earthiness-
like lawnmower.
Lawnmower with like some really great honey notes.
Yeah, I like that.
I
I
love
the fresh
weeded
cut
bourbons.
grass is like a thing, right?
I love weeded bourbons. I love earthiness. I love funk. I love all that.
Yeah, it so
But we know nobody's shoving grass and soil into the whiskey. So like, you've got to take all this with a grain of salt. But like,
and some butter.
period. And just be open to it's like back to the question that you originally asked me about just being a better taster. Like, don't overthink what you're experiencing. Just say it.
Do you feel like people catch an attitude about, oh, you're being so pompous just because you're detailed in the way you explain things?
Yeah, for sure. And people don't like to. People are lazy minded. They
mean-
want to be able to put it in a category. Is it giving me caramel? Is it giving me butterscotch? Is it giving me oak? Is it giving me baking spice? Or is it giving me dill and some of the other little fun like nuances that people have like started to embrace, like the George Dickles and the things? But if it doesn't fit one of those categories that they've learned to expect by the generalized kind of population of consumers, if they don't want to think any deeper in that because they're too lazy to, they're not going to do it.
I mean, I for me personally, the specificity in how you describe something matters, because if I'm choosing one thing over another,
Correct.
like,
My
they might
thing is,
be
you're going to be
mostly the
spending
same.
a hefty coin
What's
on
the
some of these
difference
bottles.
between these two things?
Why should I pick this over this? I like the sound of earthy, funky, this, that, and the third. Okay, great. I like the sound of elevated, quintessential. It's going to give me all the things I expect from a bourbon, but just a knock up. Great. Like, but don't you want someone to be able to tell
Well, I
you
think
that?
if I'm asking you to to tell me which thing to choose.
If I just tell you everything tastes like caramel and cherry with some oak spice, you're never
everything
gonna
tastes
really
like that. Yeah, it's
like.
just
Then you're not. How do you make an educated decision on anything? And we're not charging crumbs for these bottles. Like, so we're giving you real notes that you can make a real decision.
It is
in real time.
It is one of those things where, like, you know, if you order something, even you know, a Whopper, whatever, don't just put ketchup on it before you take a bite. Have a bite first, because the chef had an intention in the way that they put that together.
Yeah, I do agree with that.
I think the same thing is probably true when it comes to the spirits. So, like, if you're bothering to ask somebody what they are recommending,
right?
Listen.
Actually listen to the answer.
Yeah,
because they're, especially if they're bothering to tell you why.
Like, you give me like 5 minutes about this thing, we're like, all right, well, you know what, that sounds great for next time. Let me get a bottle of Jack. See you later.
Just wasted my
what is the point? Why did I bother to ask?
Why did we do this in the first place? And I think that's also really helpful when, like, you're picking what things to put in a cocktail.
Yeah.
Like, you don't just grab it's like some people are weird about having an expensive bottle and putting it in a cocktail, which I don't think you should care about the actual price point with that. It doesn't make a difference. Like, some people are charging you $250 for 5-year-old juice. Like, it makes no sense, but they do it and you pay it. You could still easily use it in a cocktail.
Sure.
But listening to the nuances about the different spirits or whatever will let you know what the flavor profile is. Does that lean better towards a sour? Does it lean better towards an old-fashioned where you want to kind of taste everything happening in that whiskey? Should I switch up my syrup or whatever? Like, should I switch up my bitter because it has more of this? Like, you're supposed to have fun with this shit. You're drinking, for God's sake.
It's a creative, you know, thing.
It's an opportunity to be creative.
Whoever's building you the cocktail.
Right.
Right? In the same way.
And the producers were creative in bringing you this unique spirit, at least the ones who care.
You should at least participate in the fun.
Participate in the fun. That's a good one.
I wonder about that all the time. Because, you know, like, from the food perspective, right, I don't know enough about booze to be, like, on your level by any means. But I can certainly talk about food for days. And people will be like, oh, well, you know, I got this particular herb from this particular garden. And I'm like, well, you know, but it's basil. So, like, it's all kind of good.
Super soup. Basil.
Yeah. But not always. And sometimes it does make a difference.
There is Thai basil, and then there is
purple basil and Genovese basil, but
Thai basil is a very different basil.
But it's also like it sometimes does matter what dirt it grew in.
No, it absolutely does.
But sometimes you're just being an asshole.
That's absolutely
true.
And
it's very difficult
to
like figure out where
that line is.
Like, I have an oregano plant that's going on 10 years old. It survived every snowstorm and frost. I can't kill this thing. I don't know what.
I love that.
And like every year it springs back to life in the corner of my garden.
So oregano is a perennial.
It could be.
Know that.
It might be.
Okay.
I don't think it's supposed to be.
Because I grow mint every year. Like, my
mint
plants
will grow
pop back
like
up.
crazy.
Yeah, I love
mint
it. And I have like 4 or 5 different types of mint in there. I got chocolate mint, pineapple mint, apple mint. Like,
you know what? Actually, I take it back.
Mint.
I know that that oregano must be a perennial.
It's got to be if it's popping up every year.
Here's how. Well, it never actually dies. Like, it
so like it never goes away.
Yeah, but here's how I know it's a perennial. Because you know the za'atar spice?
Yeah.
Okay, that's oregano. That's the same plant.
I didn't know that. Okay.
And it grows in the mountains in the Middle East.
So it's used to cold climates and stuff.
Well, it survives the cold, but also it mostly grows wild. So people go and harvest it wild, and it's always there. Okay. So obviously they're not cultivating it or replanting it. It's just growing.
It's just growing wild.
So it must be fairly hardy and robust. And I can tell you, this particular oregano plant.
I love that you have an oregano plant.
Like tough as nails.
I don't know what's up with that. Pastas I make, I need to have an oregano plant.
I've got some drying right now. I'll give you like 18 pounds of oregano.
Not 18 pounds. I would love some oregano.
It's
though,
so much.
I would love some oregano.
I got to get rid of it. All right. Here's what we're gonna do. We want to take a break and come back with the third half of the show. But I want you to tell everybody how they can follow you on, not just on Instagram, which we told everybody to tell them again, but also your show and where they can catch you. You know, doing your thing, and how they can ask you about all this stuff and all that.
Okay, so yes, Facebook, TikTok, all things are all distilled. You can follow Ascot Awards at Ascot Awards on all the things. You can also follow Soul Palette Podcast. That is me and my best friend, Capri Robinson, the Drink Master.
It's a great show.
I love plugging
You will
her.
lose so much time watching these episodes because you
so
just sit
good.
there and like.
Especially if you like the foodie competition shows. Like, it's so fun to watch it in cocktail form. So,
I drool every time.
Me and Capri have Soul Palette, and that's Soul Palette like your tongue, Palate. We are on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. On my website, you can actually get to everything Soul Palette as well. It's got its own tab at dstill.co. You can also catch the televised final judging for Ascots, where we all were finally tasting in the same room for the first time, and that is on Spirits Network. And you can pull that up on it's out now. You can pull it up via the app, or you can actually pull it up on Apple TV if you have that. And I think it's compatible with all the different streaming things on your phone, on your Roku, all the things.
Just gonna warn you, like, you're gonna watch this, you're gonna.
It's very entertaining.
You're gonna get hungry, thirsty, and like
all the get
a little
giggle
excited
out of it.
all
it's
at once. It's a lot of things.
I was
happening.
very, very happy with how it all came out, because when we were shooting it, we didn't know what to expect, and this is our first time doing it. So actually seeing how it all worked out is like I'm very proud of that.
People on the Council of Tasters also like media veterans like you, or most of them? Not?
I don't feel like I'm a media veteran, so I don't know.
But you have a live show and you do all these like tasting notes and stuff. And like, I mean, you know how to be in front of a camera. Yeah.
I'm not. Yes.
So you're
most of it is like edited. We don't typically do much live.
Okay.
We don't typically do. I don't typically do much where someone else is in control of all the cameras and lights. I'm typically in control of them. So this was new for me, ish, and like I've done some other stuff, but
I mean, you've been on this radio for several
exactly.
years.
So I've done it in that regard, and then I've done like brand work where I wasn't in control of camera stuff like that. But it's just not as frequently as when I am in control. So, but this was great. This is great. They're a small production team, and it was very like easy to work with them, and just it was great. The group
it's
of
really
people was
good
great.
stuff.
Yeah, I'm very excited. I'm very happy with that.
It came out great, and you should definitely go tune in and check it out.
Yeah, Spirits Network.
I enjoyed every minute of it.
Did you watch the whole thing?
I couldn't watch the whole thing.
Yeah, because I didn't even get to finish the whole thing yet.
But,
right.
Like, also, it's not good to be at work watching stuff about whiskey.
About alcohol.
You're gonna your work filter is gonna block that one off your computer. So you gotta watch it on your hotspot. But yeah, like it's
smart.
It's great though, and it did definitely get me interested in trying some things that some of those I had had.
I love that
I was
they
surprised
show
how
the
many of them
bottles
turned out
stuff.
to be things that I had had.
Yeah.
And that it's like, oh, I also liked that.
Yeah.
I must be a smarty pants too.
I must have a great
Yeah, I must be a genius. Yeah. But
I
also
just have a really great taste.
It also made it feel like it wasn't, rarefied. It's accessible.
Right. And that was the whole point of having it recorded.
Yeah.
Because you don't get to see any of these other spirits competitions actually go through their process. And so that's what makes Ascot really different.
It felt really good. So, all right, go check it out. Distilled, DEE, stilled everywhere, and go get the content. We're going to take a break.
Actually,
wait.
We have
Brian's got breaking news.
Not sort of breaking news,
Not
but
breaking
we have a clip of someone tasting a very unique cocktail. And I would like to get your opinion on it.
Okay. I'm here for it. Okay, great.
Be careful.
I'm scared.
Yeah, you should be. Go ahead, Brian.
And we're not getting what humans always thought was key, the bone broth. 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 Well, now it's the next level of that. It's caveman. But hey, I need a glass of caveman. Caveman. Man, it's better than Ovaltine. Better than Ovaltine. It's just unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Caveman is just over the top. What in the world? But now with the milk, I was like, whoa, this has milk in it. Whoa. It tastes like good. Man, this tastes so good. Tastes like the best milkshake ever. It tastes like Ovaltine. It tastes like Ovaltine. It tastes like Ovaltine. Like good. It tastes like Ovaltine. It tastes like Ovaltine. It tastes like Ovaltine. Like good. Whoa.
This is I can say without a doubt, at least in my experience, that this is literally.
This is a super home run available at InfoWarsLife.com. America first! America first! Get that through your head! America first. America first. You heard that before? What? America first. America first. What the hell, man? Dude, America first. America first. To all of you, let me explain one damn thing. America, America, America. Dude, you understand? America, America, America. My point is America's first. America, America, America. What the hell, man? Globalists, no. Goblins, no. This is it. Everybody get ready. America first. America first. Get that through your head. Dude, America first. America first. You heard that before? What? America first. America first. Get that through your head. America first. America first. Okay, it's true. I stayed up late last night, so I had half the Turbo Force this morning. The vitamins, the minerals, the amino acids. The vitamins, the minerals, the the vitamins, the minerals, the amino acids. The vitamins, the minerals. That's Turbo Force. 5 different types of caffeine. Doesn't have the crash. 5 different types of caffeine. That's Turbo Force. 5 different types of caffeine. Doesn't have the crash. 5 different types of caffeine. That's Turbo Force. Plant derived. 500 milligrams. Slow burn. The very best. I want a long burn. Plant derived. 500 milligrams. Slow burn. The very best. That's Turbo Force. I tell you what, I'm feeling a lot of energy. My brain's sure working good right now. Good right now. Good right now. Pre-workout, next level. Turbo Force. Turbo Force. Pre-workout, next level. Turbo. It's Turbo Force. And get the fish oil.
Wow.
Welcome back to ChipChat here on Beltway Radio and beyond.
Wow.
You know, Chip with me is D Still.
Wow.
So, D,
still is
which
amazed.
you would like to talk first, the caveman or the Turbo Force?
First, I guess let's start with Turbo Force because that's the one that was
Turbo
just
Force.
imprinted into my brain.
You have to say it like that. Turbo Force.
I haven't
there you
had
go.
5 types of caffeine, so I don't know if I even have that level of oomph in me.
We tried to work out what the 5 different kinds of caffeine are. So I know there's coffee derived caffeine, tea,
Yes, because I'm a green tea girl.
and then chocolate.
Yes,
Also
I forgot
has
that chocolate
caffeine
has
in
caffeine.
it, but I
So
could
what's
not
the other
think of
two?
2 other things that have naturally occurring caffeine in them. I'm sure there
Like
are.
cocaine?
I don't think that's caffeine.
Oh.
I think
Something's
that's
keeping these
cocaine.
people up. I don't know. Something
I think
keeping them
it's
people
just
up.
cocaine.
So what the hell makes cocaine keep people awake?
Well, it's also a stimulant, but it's its own chemical, not caffeine. I don't remember the name
I
of
was gonna say the hell if I know.
Coca
It's a
leaf.
coca leaf, yeah.
Coca leaf has stimulants in it.
No. Well, I'm
But I don't know what else has caffeine in it.
I don't know.
Does that cot stuff that the
What's that?
East Africans chew on? It's like a leaf that they chew on too. I think that might
Is
have
that
caffeine in it.
caffeine too? Oh God. See,
I don't know.
know.
Some sort of stimulant. I don't know if it. Does kratom have caffeine?
What the hell is
That's
kratom?
another one of these weird leaves that people chew
Oh
on.
God. See, I'm not a leaf chewer. Are you a leaf chewer?
They're not hallucinogenic, and no, I don't chew on any of them. I just because the kratom I learned because I was driving and I saw this sign on a vape shop. It says kratom, and I was like, "What the
I've
fuck
probably
is that?"
seen that
and
in
I
a vape
googled
shop
it,
window.
and then I read the Wikipedia article about it, and then several dozen more because that's how Wikipedia works.
Anything that the government would not lock people up for, they're willing to give a try at least once.
For a while, right? Eventually,
Right.
the government's going to Schedule 1 it. And
They're
going to
find a way.
Have it.
They'll find a way.
You know, for now.
They'll wait till you get addicted to it, and then they'll find a way to make it like a black market item.
Yeah, and then
So that they
criminalize
can
it.
exactly
Take away your right
make
to vote.
make their money in other ways.
Well, that dovetails very nicely for our next story, which is called More, More, More. Maryland Governor
Oh, you
Wes
like
Moore, yeah, he does like it. He pardoned 175,000 people who had been
For-
convicted of low-level marijuana offenses
Oh God,
in a state
freedom
that
people.
now has legalized marijuana.
Freedom people.
Yeah,
Freedom
so
people.
he went above and beyond here because he also basically set it up so that nobody had to do a lot of paperwork. There are some people who have to do some paperwork after this to get their records expunged.
Mm-hmm.
But generally speaking, you know, if you don't have a guilty anything on your record, there's nothing to expunge.
Oh, love it.
So, yeah, he did the ethical thing. the first governor in the country, I should point out, to do this thing where states have made marijuana legal in various ways or another. And, you know, there's still people either serving time or sitting with this stuff on their record.
Right.
And Governor Moore was sort of making the point that, like, you know, even low-level drug offenses turn into life sentences.
Right.
Because you're
constantly having to answer for them even when you're home.
Yeah, and you might have paid your debt to society or never even did any jail time, but you still got this record, and so you can't pass a background check.
Job. Right.
That's exactly right. Keeps you from getting a job, which is really the life sentence there, and it's, you know, preventing people from being able to have full control over their own destiny.
Their own destiny. Yeah.
So good on Wes Moore for doing that, Governor Moore. I am very supportive of that. I guarantee you that Glenn Youngkin in my fair Commonwealth is not going to do such a thing, although he'll definitely be happy for the tax revenues.
Is he a repub?
Very definitely.
Okay.
Yeah. He wears a fleeced vest everywhere.
Oh, he's a repub.
Yeah,
he
one of
probably
those.
likes to go, like, hunting and skeet shooting. Is he one of those?
He likes. Yeah, he is a fan of the shooting sports. He also got like a scholarship to college for playing basketball. He's tall, but you know, he plays basketball.
But did he go to a college that's like great at basketball? No. Okay. It's not given like Kentucky.
No, he didn't go to like Duke or anything. No,
got it. Okay.
I think maybe he went to like ODU, something like that.
Okay, yeah, nobody's looking to ODU for like basketball stats.
I don't think he was like, I'm gonna make the Sweet 16. No.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's what I was. That's what I was kind of getting at.
Glenn.
Y'all not placing in the playoffs at all. So you could get you a basketball scholarship for just being tall. They're gonna hope that you can dribble.
That's right. See,
that's hilarious.
I'm impressed the way you explained that. You have the guts to see what I did. All right, let's talk about Matt Gaetz. So this one's called "Swinging Gates Always Squeal."
Squeal.
And so Matty Gaetz, this guy here, there he is with his 5 head. So Matt
Gaetz got
Gaetz,
a mean 5 head. The slick back is crazy. Wow.
Matt Gaetz seen here applauding the death of a puppy. He's not well liked. He got in a fist fight during McCarthy's 15-round speakership vote, so that was pretty good.
Okay, so lack of self-control, got it.
Yep, definitely that. He had a federal investigation into sex trafficking, in which several of his associates, including his best friend, turned state's evidence and gave up the info that he was, paying some women who were of age. Some of them were 18. Let's just be clear about that. But some of them weren't, for things like drugs and sex and school books, I think is one of the things he put in the Venmo line. And he did it all like on Venmo publicly, which is really funny and very stupid.
It amazes me how many people use Venmo and Cash App for these like lascivious things and will put notes.
What I don't understand is the public aspect of these things.
All of my Venmo transactions are by default set to private.
Yeah, and I don't understand why anybody would make anything like public. Like even if I paid you for half of a bar tab, like I don't need that broadcast.
I don't even
anywhere.
need that in my correct. Like that's why all of my stuff by default is just because I may leave a note if I'm paying someone for something service related. I need a receipt or whatever, or something funny, or I might just say thank you in a note or whatever. It's all still private.
Yeah, I don't understand why these are social media companies.
Need to be private by default, but then there are the people who actually secretly have a kink about getting caught with things.
That might be this.
People may like getting caught doing some shit they know they shouldn't be doing.
Well, the House Ethics Committee is still investigating allegations against Matt Gaetz, including that he may have engaged in sexual misconduct and illegal drug use and accepted improper gifts. It has opened up new lines of inquiry into the Florida lawmaker, according to a statement released by the bipartisan panel on Tuesday. Now, here's the thing about House Ethics. They basically won't talk to anybody. They don't talk to the media. They don't talk to people, even other members of Congress, about what they're doing on ethics because it's like the internal affairs of Congress, right? The Internal Affairs Department and the Police Department, they doesn't really talk to the other cops.
No.
And they don't talk about, like, what they're up to with Channel 4.
They're just trying to get an answer that they can effectively give out to the public They want to make it go away as quickly as possible. They want to figure out.
Unless there's
who
a
they can
there
blame.
there, in which case they might say something
Yeah.
because they need to get it out ahead of time before, somebody else
Before it
does.
blows up even bigger.
Yeah. So the fact that House Ethics is even talking to the press about this and that they opened another inquiry and he beat the federal stuff. Okay. DOJ decided there wasn't enough to press charges, so they stopped pursuing it.
Lazy.
Whatever. Well, maybe that, you need witnesses. You need other people to cooperate. 17-year-olds aren't great at testifying.
Especially if their
something.
parents are keeping them quiet or
And,
something.
and maybe they're getting money from a congressman or his dad who was a state legislator for a long time. And, so it is what it is.
So many things.
But House Ethics doesn't have all of those regular rules. They don't have to
Right.
follow the procedures, getting warrants and all that stuff. So they can just keep asking questions until they get an answer.
Mm-hmm.
Turns out that that's exactly what they're doing. The 10-member committee, which rarely discloses information about ongoing investigations, clarified the status of its review of Gates in a lengthy statement. It's like several pages long. The panel wrote that since initiating its investigation in April of 21,
3 years ago.
Yep, it has, quote, determined that certain of the allegations merit continued review and that the committee has identified additional allegations that merit review. So there's new stuff.
And so
Matt Gaetz, call your office.
And so the more you investigate this person, the more you're realizing how much y'all missed in the first place. Got it.
Yeah, that's pretty much
Okay.
it. Yep.
So does he get to keep his job?
Well, as former Congressman Joe Walsh has pointed out on this show a couple of times, that's really up to the voters of his district.
Got it.
It shouldn't be up to the House to expel people. It should be up to the voters of their district whether they want. If you want somebody who pays underage girls for drugs and sex, you said it, representing you in Congress, that is your right as a voter. I mean, I can't tell you
That'll
not to.
tell you a lot about the demographics of that district.
It does. There's a sizable number of people who vote for Dallas Cowboys fans to represent them in Congress. I think that's a very stupid mistake.
It's a very slippery slope. First of all, if you're a Dallas Cowboys fan, there's already something a little unhinged about you.
There
No
are several
shade.
districts in Dallas. So, like, those people, are they entitled to representation?
Sure.
Sure. Are they raving idiots? Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
But,
and then they probably vote for raving idiots because that's who they identify with. And
there you go.
That's
so
how,
Matt Gaetz' district.
and that's how the sausage is made in our good government.
Listen, if you're into 17-year-old girls and Matt Gaetz is your man.
Oh God.
Vote Gaetz.
Please
in 2017. Yeah. Okay, here's my favorite story this week. This one is called "Wait Till the Trumpistas Read the 6th through the 10th."
The Trumpistas.
Yeah. So Louisiana, the great state of Louisiana, the Pelican State, has
I love New Orleans.
They've passed a law that requires that the 10 Commandments be displayed in every classroom in public elementary school.
Separate church from all this stuff.
Well, listen, you and Thomas Jefferson have a lot to say about this, but nobody in Louisiana cares about that.
They want to keep church and state hand in hand.
They do. And they want the 10 Commandments in every elementary, secondary, and post-education schools in the great state of Louisiana, because if you want to respect the rule of law, you've got to start with the original lawgiver, which was Moses. So they say. No mention of any other laws.
Most of y'all even follow these 10 Commandments, though.
Well,
y'all lie, y'all steal, y'all cheat, y'all kill. Like, what are we talking about?
Covet each other's wives.
All the things.
Right.
People are swinging all up and through Louisiana. So what are we talking about?
Well, let's just say, first of all, there is this idea that if you want to have a Christo-fascist white ethno-state, that an easy way to start it is with something that you can say, well, look, we all agree on the 10 Commandments. How bad can it be?
But do we?
No.
All agree? No.
And in fact, in researching this, when I was trying to figure out which commandment was which, I started to run into some problems. Because
like what?
I was raised with a certain set of what are the 10 Commandments because of the way that I was taught in conservative Judaism.
Yes.
But it turns out that the Catholics have them in a totally different order, and several of the other
So they
Christian
do like
groups.
the Baptists have it in a different order.
It's not
Maybe
that-
the Episcopalians have it in a
Yeah,
different order.
yes.
Like the
There's a whole
Presbyterians.
matrix that explains this.
Huh.
Because some of the commandments get split up. Are you coveting your neighbor's wife and coveting your neighbor's property? Are those 2 commandments, or is that 1 commandment? Are wives property, or are they not? I am the
Wow.
Lord your God. You should have no other gods before me. Is that 1 commandment, or is that 2 commandments?
Wow.
So this gets
See,
super complicated.
Humans love to complicate shit. Why do we do that?
It's the wildest thing. But the thing that was very glaring to me is, some of the stuff that's in this, I think we can all agree you shouldn't kill people.
Correct.
That's a pretty easy one.
Yeah. Nobody loves a liar.
Yeah, you probably shouldn't lie.
Yeah, like.
But then there's all these times when maybe you might need to lie.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. We're like, don't bear false witness. All right, well, if the KGB is pressing me out for where you are hiding,
Right.
I'm lying.
Correct.
Am I committing
I'm
a mortal
sending
sin
them
by doing that?
somewhere in some weird direction.
Or am I doing a
You're doing something for the
saintly
greater
act
good.
by protecting your life
Right.
from an obvious bad guy who is going to violate another commandment to kill? It all gets very murky.
It's definitely a lot of gray.
And
a lot of gray.
And it's all
But
part
that's
of...
a problem with like conservative religion.
Yes.
It's like there's no room for nuance. There's no room for gray. It's very black or very white. And if you're somewhere in between, then you're automatically going to hell.
Yeah, because they just assume you're a sinner.
They just
and that's
assume
it.
you're they assume, okay, well, you're not automatically saying yes and praise Jesus. So that means you're automatically saying go devil. Like,
Well, and
People are
so
nuts.
we're really getting to this question of why do we have the First Amendment, right? And to be clear about the separation of church and state, it says that Congress shall make no law establishing a church. It's what's called the Establishment Clause. By putting the 10 Commandments in a state institution, like a school,
you're establishing
you're
a church.
establishing a something that comes from a religious perspective. That's establishment.
Yeah.
So this is going to get beat in court. I'm sure of it, because every other time that somebody's tried to put 10 Commandments up on a courthouse steps or whatever, it gets beat in court.
Yeah.
Famously, Roy Moore of child molesting at the mall in Alabama and running for Senate and losing to Doug Jones and also being Supreme Court Chief Justice 3 times in Alabama.
Oh, my God.
Kept putting the 10 Commandments up on the courthouse steps in Alabama and then kept getting beat in court because he's a shit lawyer and a pedophile.
Correct. And got the nerve to be wanting to put the 10 Commandments everywhere and you diddle it on kids. What are we talking about?
Well,
That's what I'm saying.
He was picking them up in a mall. At least he was paying for ice cream.
Please. And then you catching them with the few moments they without their parents.
Well, it was the 60s. They'd only just invented malls.
And that's
He
when it was
didn't
so
know any
exciting.
better.
Everybody's
He was
frolicking.
just a young man. He couldn't tell. He was 34 and the girls that he was, never mind.
Yeah, you know what? Yes, let's not. Let's not paint that full picture.
So the governor signed this, and he said he welcomes the fight. He said, quote, I'm going home to sign a bill that places the 10 Commandments in public classrooms, he said at a GOP fundraiser in Nashville, of course. And I can't wait to be sued. Well, don't worry, buddy.
Well, it's a coming.
It's coming. Speaking of which, as you did predict seconds ago, a pastor at a Texas megachurch resigned Tuesday after a woman accused him of sexually abusing her several times between 1982 and 1987 when she was a minor.
A minor.
Exactly. We're
It's
not
a great-
touching that
it's
fight.
a great show.
We're
I
not
watched
touching
the
that
Kendrick
fight with a
show
20-foot
last night.
pole.
No.
But, yeah. The resignation of Robert Morris, founder and senior pastor at Gateway Church. This is a big outfit that a lot of people know.
Gateway Church is
Yeah.
also wild.
It was accepted
So-
by the church's board of elders.
Crazy.
In a statement, the board said that it was, quote, heartbroken and appalled.
Were you?
Well, yeah.
Were you?
By allegations raised by Cindy Clemenshire, who was 12 when the alleged abuse began.
Wow.
So basically,
Is this within the statute of limitations?
well, it's
In
not a criminal
1982?
issue.
Okay.
He's
okay.
just,
okay.
been called out. So here's the deal.
It's more
Robert
court
Morris
of a
was
public opinion thing.
he was a traveling preacher. back in the 80s. And he stayed with a family that, was willing to take him in. And apparently on Christmas Eve, he was like, hey, how about a cuddle? And, with the 12-year-old, allegedly. And, no, I guess he's basically admitted to it at this point.
Not really, but we're alleging there.
Like on some
we don't
nitty
want to get
shit?
in trouble.
Yeah, and he was like, hey,
For the sake of not being sued, allegedly.
how about a cuddle? And she was like, I'd rather not. And he was like, well, we're going to have a cuddle. God told me we should have a cuddle.
Not God told you to be a pet.
Well, that's how these guys work, right?
That is definitely how they work. Any way to justify.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So they had a cuddle. In a statement, Clement Shear, 54, said that while she is grateful that Morris is no longer a pastor at Gateway, she's disappointed that he wasn't terminated.
Right.
He had to resign.
He had to resign.
She also disputed the board's assertion that it was not aware of her age at the time of the alleged abuse, saying that she had told a church official and board members the details of the events in 2005 and 2007.
Wow.
Gateway,
How are you not aware of her age? Please cut it out.
Gateway had the information, but intentionally decided to embrace the false narrative that Robert Morris wanted them to believe. Yeah, so nobody's talking. The press is asking all the questions. They're not answering.
Of course.
Morris didn't reply to a request for comment, but he told the Christian Post that in his early 20s he was, quote, involved in inappropriate sexual behavior with a young lady in a home that I was staying. He said there was kissing and petting, but no intercourse, but it was wrong. He said he submitted himself to the elders of the church and the young lady's father, and so therefore it's fine. Because, the men...
He submitted himself. What does that mean?
He asked their forgiveness. He asked the men, the father of the girl, not the
actual person who you violated.
Correct.
Her father.
Well, because she's a woman and she can't make decisions.
Because she has to be property of the man of the house.
She's property of the... Yes.
Get out of here with
Morris
that.
would go on to found Gateway Church in the Dallas area. That's shocking. In 2000, it started with 30 members. It's now 100,000 attending each weekend. 100,000 members. They've got several locations all around, franchises
Giving
and stuff.
mega church vibes.
It is a mega church.
Okay.
But it's like, that's a lot of people in Texas who are going to church to that one brand of church.
Right.
Imagine McDonald's was like, we have 100,000 people who show up at this one McDonald's every Sunday. That's a hell of a McDonald's.
That's a hell of a McDonald's.
Don't bring your 12-year-old.
That's McDonald's. That's a McDonald's shelling out Chick-fil-A sandwiches.
Oh, not on Sundays.
On a Sunday? That's what I'm saying. Because Chick-fil-A ain't going to do
money.
it. So McDonald's going to step in and do it.
You want to make some money. You figure out that recipe and sell it on a Sunday.
You figure out that brine, you good to go.
Yeah. It's pickle juice. That's the secret. You want to know the secret? I got it.
I knew the pickle part, but if it's pickle juice alone, why are people not doing that more?
Come over on Saturday. I got you. I'll show you what I got.
I love a brine.
Yeah, we got Giants got chicken quarters on sale too.
Chicken quarters, are they organic?
No, definitely not. But they're $1.19 a pound.
Oh, okay.
So
right.
definitely doing that.
All right. Well, I'll be at the Amish market.
Okay. I will be getting even taller somehow in my 40s while I'm eating, questionable chicken. It's delicious. All right, this segment's called News. News. Yeah. So NASA, the space nerds.
Mm-hmm. Love them.
So we're big space people on this show. So there was the Starliner, the new capsule that Boeing and NASA have been working on for quite a while. Very delayed, 3 years past its launch point. But finally did launch, and it's up there on the ISS visiting. Here's the story about what happened with Starliner. Crazy story. 2 astronauts in there. They had packed all their clothes. They were ready to go. Mm-hmm. And then NASA was like, oh, the urine pump on the space station broke. Yeah, because they have to recycle their urine, to get fresh water. And
oh, wait, what?
yeah, that's part of being an astronaut is you have to drink.
Oh,
recycled urine.
hell no. I mean, continue your story, but hell no. Nope.
So they were like, you're on your way up. We're going to need to take your clothes and personal stuff out of the spaceship, and we're going to put a new urine pump in the cargo instead. You're only going to be up there for 4 days. It'll be fine.
Okay.
And they were like, all right, cool.
They couldn't like vacuum seal their clothes and
Yeah, no, they already do all that.
Oh,
you know,
got it,
It's
okay.
NASA. They've got
right. They
technology.
got ways to
Yeah.
condense all this shit anyway.
So they were like, all right, cool, we'll haul that up for you. So they go up there and on their way there, they're like, yo, we've got some helium leaks in the thrusters. Like, this could be a problem.
It sounds like a problem. Don't
And
you need
NASA's
your
like, no,
thrusters?
just go ahead and dock. You'll be fine. Just get the pump there. So they got there and they delivered the pump. And they were supposed to come home on the 14th. And then
It's now the 20th.
it's the 20th. So they were like, well,
and they're without clothes.
they don't have any change of clothes.
And
So
they can't like launder their things.
there's nothing to clean their stuff. Now, fortunately, in space, you know,
It's not like you have to get funky, I guess, but like I mean, but you're also not like
you're not
like
sweating a lot, but yeah, you
shower,
can
it's like
kind
a
of
lot
wipe down. It's not great.
Right.
It's, you know, I mean, it's not
It's
glamorous.
a lot of dried goods. There's not really much like
Yeah.
dealing in water and soap
And people
and
still
you still
sweat.
gotta poop and the thing.
Oh, you have to poop into a vacuum.
to poop into a vacuum.
Yeah, it's like a machine that you hook up.
and you have to like dry wipe your ass
Oh, yeah, very definitely. It's like,
and wear the
Minimal.
same clothes that
and
you
then get
worn
back into the clothes that you
for
were wearing.
days.
So,
Okay.
the two astronauts who are named Butch and Sonny, which is very funny.
That's great. I
Yeah.
love that so much.
You just keep thinking, Butch.
Butch
That's
and
what you're good at. So they're up there, and they're like, all right, well, I guess we're coming home on the 14th. Well, they didn't come home on the 14th. NASA was like, well, we're not sure about these leaks. We're going to need you to stay there till the 18th. You know, while we
now
check that out.
It's now,
And then the
now the
18th came and went.
and so these people just stuck up in space.
And so they're like, well, now we're not sure you
Did
can
they
leave.
give them enough food and rations for all
Well,
this?
yeah, now we're getting to the really important part, right? So they had to, now they're supposed to be there till the 26th is when they're going to be finished doing all the checks. They keep saying they've got enough helium to get home. And you're like, well, what do they need helium for?
But if it's leaking, are they sure about
It's
that?
leaking in the command module part of the capsule, not in the return
Back,
part of the capsule.
okay. This is Columbia issue. So you're saying that if they re-enter with a leaky helium tank, it will catch, won't it?
No, helium doesn't burn. The helium is used in the thrusters to help them steer. Because in space you need thrusters to steer. Right? And so they have compressed helium in there, and they have these like little nozzles that squirt it out, and then that rotates the capsule and stuff. The leak, to be clear, is in the command module, or service module, not the command module. So the capsule that comes home isn't leaking.
Okay.
The cylindrical bit behind it that carries a bunch of extra fuel and air and stuff is,
Which is important stuff.
yeah, but if
But
it's
ultimately,
not,
they could get back.
they could get back without it.
Yeah.
But yeah, now they're up there for this extended period. If it turns out that they determine that the craft isn't safe enough to get home on, you know, there's ways to
And
get
they
home.
gotta send another.
Yes.
Jesus.
So
now they gotta wait for a ride in
exactly
space.
right.
And they gotta wait to get picked up and brought back to Earth. This is the wildest shit.
So the International Space Station has, for a long time, since the shuttle was retired, the only way to get up there has been these Soyuz capsules, you know, that the Russians launch. And, you know, you hitch a ride on that, and there's an extra one up there as a lifeboat all the time. And then there was another one that was up there as a lifeboat, but it got a little damaged, so now they're just using it for storage.
It's a lifeboat.
Yep.
It's hilarious.
So there's one Soyuz that just recently arrived, and there's the other one that's a lifeboat. But there's not enough to get everybody home at once
Okay.
currently.
How many people are up there?
A lot. 8 or 9.
Oh, that's a lot.
Well, these guys were only supposed to be there for a couple of days.
Yeah. Oh, now they stuck for over a week together. My God.
Almost a month,
Oh, Christ.
right?
Okay.
So, you
Yeah,
know,
that's a lot.
they got to get home. And this puts us in the unenviable position of asking help from either the Russians or Elon. Those are the only other
Either
two
way,
ways
it
to
is
get
a very
up and back to the
dangerous
space
ask.
station. Yeah,
'Cause
tough spot to be
both
in.
are quite
NASA.
unpredictable. Like,
maybe you ought to get that thing together.
I thought so are we not still in the space race? We just letting the
We're
Russians
in the
beat us in
space
that
race.
regard?
We just don't have the space shuttle anymore.
Yikes.
And we're dependent on SpaceX and Boeing to get us up and back.
And see, that's why Boeing is getting so many goddamn planes recalled, because they so busy focusing on not meeting their deadlines for these space capsules.
I mean, you know.
It's just too much.
It is what it is.
This is America.
If it ain't
for you.
Boeing, I ain't going. That's the old one.
Right. Do people still feel that way?
I don't know. This one's called I Know Some of These People. So this one, it wasn't under the radar. It caught a lot of flack, but it is an important thing to talk about. President Joe Biden announced new policy for folks. So this is going to affect about 500,000 people in this country. Let's say you're an American citizen and you're married to somebody who overstayed their visa or, you know, got in here illegally and, you know, you now have 3 kids and they have a job and it's, you know, you're living your life, right? Well, they're married to an American citizen. They have access to become an American citizen. But under the current rule or the previous rule, they would have to go back to their home country,
apply
and
for
reapply,
a visa.
and then maybe get to come back home.
It's not nuts. It's not.
It's
nuts.
awful if you've got
It sucks.
kids.
Yeah, it sucks.
And sometimes you have to wait 10 years and still not get to come home to your family.
Yeah, it's
So what the Biden administration did was they said, listen, if you're in this category, you can apply without having to leave.
Yeah.
Because
I like that
it's just a paperwork problem.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to fix this paperwork problem. You still have to apply. You don't get status immediately. But, you know, you don't have to go home
and
to
deal
some
with
other
that.
country that you haven't been at in a long-ass time, you know, to do that. It seems reasonable.
I think it's especially fair if you're paying taxes and can prove it.
Absolutely. It's part of the requirements. It's only affecting 500,000 people. It's not that big a deal, and it's just sort of a compassionate, humane thing to do. You would be shocked to find out that the right-wing Republicans are furious about this.
Of course
It's
they are.
blanket amnesty, and how dare they, and all this kind of stuff.
Such a scuttlebutt.
I know people personally who overstayed their visas, who were here illegally, married an American, and then were able to apply, and for whom this exact program would help, who
Or
are now
against it.
citizens and are voting for Trump. And it's not just one or two, it's several.
It's just so frightening.
It's
to me.
weird, isn't it?
It's weird to a frightening degree. Because how can you get so quickly and like easily detached from who you are that the second that you get put in a position different, you immediately forget where you were before that current position?
That's
or
the thing I
circumstance.
can't understand.
It's to the tune of voting against anyone else being able to have that same opportunity to change their circumstances.
It is pulling the bridge up behind you.
Literally. I was about to say something like you closing the window after you just snuck your way in.
Yeah.
Like, what? Like, we're just very detached.
It
as a
seems
people.
weird, and it seems also kind of like gross.
Very gross.
Like icky. Like
Very gross.
I can't imagine, like, it's like looking at a reflection of yourself and being like, well, not that person.
Right.
Like, I'm already here. What do I need to know how to do that for? You know,
Right.
it's like, no. It's also, it's not amnesty. It's not amnesty. These people still have to apply. The same rules are still there.
Right.
It's just they don't have to leave and then come back.
And they get to continue. I mean, all the government cares about is money anyway. They get to continue to pay taxes.
Do
So
you
what are we
not
talking
want them
about?
contributing to the economy?
They're still paying
We're
taxes.
short people. Have you not noticed?
Didn't
that
y'all say the economy was bad? Didn't you? Aren't we in a?
we are out of workers
Which I don't understand. How does that work?
because we
There's so
don't
many
have enough
unemployed
kids.
people.
No, there aren't. The unemployment rate's at the lowest it's ever been.
Really?
Yes, and we're making 300,000 jobs a month. We are running out of people. There's nobody on the bench.
Well, it's also not fully reasonably sound and responsible to have a bunch of kids anymore because Nobody's taking
So
care
a
of the
lot of
environment
people-
as we should, and we're using way too many resources at way too high of a rate. And corporations are using it at even more astronomical of a rate and exponentially because they have the resources to suck the life out of the earth. And we have to feel guilty about having a 30-minute shower these days. But meanwhile, they're siphoning off whole lakes and streams and shit to repeat the same type of bottled water 20 different times with 20 different labels. Oh, it sucks.
So that's all true, but also the American birth rate isn't sufficient to keep up with the death rate.
Which makes
We're going to
sense.
run out of people.
Could that be true?
Yeah, it's very
It's
true.
too many people on this planet for that to be
There
true.
are too many people on the planet, but they're not in the right place.
They're not procreating
there is the-
apparently at the rate that they should.
Well, there's one or two options. One
and Gen
is
Zers don't want to work.
Americans either need to have more babies or
Yeah.
we need to borrow some people from some other
From
countries,
other countries.
which is another way of saying immigration.
Correct.
So if you want to come here and work, we need your help, please. And if you want to
and
deplete
there are
your
plenty of people who want to do that.
yeah, and if you wanted to, if your country gets depleted because it doesn't have enough people because they all came to America, hey, tough shit. That's competition, baby. Make your country better. I guess. I don't know. Everybody wants to
That's
come
the
here.
American way.
Right?
It's the
Yeah.
American
Oh,
response.
yeah. Yo,
Make
bring-
you step your country up.
yeah. Give us you're tired, you're sick, you're weak. Really just anybody. We need people. Just
Anybody
come
willing
here.
to work.
Yeah.
Like,
You want to come over here? We need people. We're running out. So,
that's insane.
yeah. Way to go, Republicans.
Way to fucking go.
All right, the last question I have before we hit the end of the show is: do you think that the debate, which is scheduled for a week from today, they continue to counter-program us, Brian?
Is
Every
this between
time-
Trump and Biden?
Yeah, it's scheduled for the 27th. Do you think this is going to actually happen?
I think if the network has a way to execute it,
Well, it's on CNN. It's only on CNN.
it only happens on CNN.
Yep.
Okay. I think it's gonna happen. I don't think they can pass up the brand dollars. I just don't think they
Oh,
can.
I think CNN wants it to happen.
Yeah.
I don't think Trump's
what
going
would
to show
bar
up.
from happening? Because of his convictions and all that right now?
Because there's no reason for him to do it. He's going to end up looking like a buffoon.
He looks like a buffoon anytime he speaks.
Right. So my theory on this is there's no advantage for him to do it. He's going to go there and
Every
CNN's going to
candidate
cut his mic
participates in
when
it.
he overtalks.
Yeah.
And he's not going to like that. So what he's going to do is he's going to say, it's not true. He's going to say they changed the rules and I didn't agree to this. And so therefore I'm not showing up. And then he's going to tell all his people that and they're all going to go, yeah, CNN rigged it. Just like they rigged the election.
It's like they rig
Yeah.
everything.
And then he's just not
Sorry.
going to do the debate. I can't find anybody who's willing to bet me this, but I want to bet so bad.
I thought you betted.
Tez bet
yeah,
a six-pack. I want to get somebody else to bet.
He
on
bet
it.
that he will show up.
Tez bet that it's going to happen. Quite a lot of people I know think that it's going to happen because they say,
I think he's such a narcissist. He just can't pass up the opportunity to be on a stage.
well, he's always on a stage.
Yeah.
Trump,
But
the
I
reason
think
the debate's
on a
happening,
stage directly across from his quote-unquote competitor or opponent or whatever.
he's not going to do it. Trump got into this because he told everybody live on TV, he's like, I'll debate him anytime, anywhere. You name your place. And like before he could say, nah, or whatever he says, Joe Biden was like, yo, yes, right now, tomorrow. Like,
ASAP.
yeah. And Trump was caught and he couldn't
He gotta
back
stand on
down
business.
from that. Yeah. But now that he's had a minute or two to think about it,
Maybe I jumped
this
the
dude
gun.
is backed out of every other public promise he's ever made
You 1,000%.
to anybody. So like, there's no way he's gonna do this. What reason does he have to do it? If he doesn't do it, and we're all thinking, well, you said you were gonna do it, and then you didn't. That
I
makes
mean,
you look
his
weak.
word never meant shit to begin with, so it's
Exactly.
not that. I think it's just like, how do you, like, all candidates participate in, are there some candidates that have notably not participated in a debate?
Well, he didn't
like,
participate in any of the Republican primary debates.
well, I mean,
He
that's
just
just
was like,
it's the
Anyway,
dumb
who's
battling
gonna-
the dumb.
who's gonna win?
They're battling the same hateful
He doesn't have-
ideologies as each other. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, there's no reason for him to do the debate.
Yeah.
The only reason is because he said he would do it.
Well,
But
that should be reason
he
damn
says
enough.
he
What
was
what
gonna
does your
do-
word mean?
Yeah, but this guy
Nothing.
says things all the time that he
Right.
then
He
doesn't do.
mean.
And you go, you just said that. And he goes, no, I didn't. And you go,
No,
here's
here's
the
the
tape
recording
of
of
you
you
saying
saying
it. And he goes, I never said that. And then his followers
It's the
are
Russians.
like, yeah, that's a deep fake. You made that up.
Deep fake.
And his followers go,
It's
no, he never
CGI.
said that. Ask a Trump supporter right now if he ever said lock her up about Hillary Clinton.
Oh, my
because
God.
recently he told everybody that he never said that. And so
Is he
currently,
denying grabbing by the pussy?
yes.
Oh.
So currently in Trump world, he never
He
said,
never said
lock
those
her
things.
up.
You're not about to Mandela affect me. We're not doing that.
That's exactly what he's
You're
doing to
not
his
about
people.
to do that. You're not about to convince me that I didn't experience what I experienced.
No, of course
So
you saw
vividly.
it because you're a reasonable thinking person.
Right.
But Trumpistas are not.
Correct.
So
Yeah.
I
Lacking all sense and logic is like a prerequisite
Yeah.
for being a Trumpista. So
100% the case. I don't see him doing this debate.
Wow.
You think he's
Well,
going to do it?
I think he's gonna do it.
Okay.
I think he is.
Nobody agrees with me. on this.
Narcissists love a stage. They just can't help. It's
We
like
do.
a moth to a flame. No,
Yeah.
we do.
Yeah. I mean, what do
Are you
think I do this show
self-diagnosing
for?
as a
Oh,
narcissist?
yeah, very definitely.
A moth to a flame. I just don't think, especially he wants to be able to say, I said that I was going to come to the debate and I showed up. And he wants to be able to say, they rigged it. And you see, they turned off my mics. It's the Russians. It's the Democrats.
Yeah.
Like, I think he wants that opportunity.
Okay. All right, nobody
that's my
agrees-
theory.
I can't get anybody to agree with this idea. There's no.
Now I'm very intrigued to see if it happens.
Well, let's
though.
see. It's
I can't
scheduled
wait.
for the 27th,
With
which
bated
is
breath,
our
I will
next
be
show.
waiting. I'll be in Kentucky at the time, but I'm gonna make sure I tap in.
Yeah, it'll be on CNN. I'm sure they have CNN.
They're pretty sure
even in
whatever bars
Kentucky.
will be playing it.
Yeah,
So for
Kentucky's
sure,
an iffy place, but
it's a very iffy place. They didn't got rid of all their DEI
yeah, they're really mad about
things and
that.
things. I
Do
think
they
it's
know you're a
complete
black
bullshit.
woman going there?
Yes.
Okay,
And that's the
they're gonna
crazy
let you
part.
in anyway.
They're gonna let me in
Okay.
anyway. I think they're okay with it because I didn't come in through any special programming.
You didn't sneak in.
that picked me because I was a black
That's
woman.
right.
I
You
just
didn't know
so happened to
affirmative.
be a black woman.
Just happened to be.
Yeah,
I like that one.
yeah.
With George Carlin had this joke about this, like, oh, he just happened to be black, and you're like, oh, really? He
Because we
happened to
don't
be.
see color.
Well, were his parents black? Oh, yes, they were. And did they produce a baby? Yes, they did. Well, he just happened to be black.
He just happened to be black. He
Just happened to be.
just woke up black
It was
one
like
day.
a coin flip that day. Who knew? Meant him to be something else, but he just happened to be black.
I love when people try to like gaslight with that type of like
Isn't that weird?
fake logic, faux rationale.
Anyway, all right. Before we send you off to Kentucky, we've hit the end of the show,
Okay.
which means we got to hit the music, which also means we need to say thank you.
Thank you for having me back.
Thank you so much for co-hosting.
This is great.
You're
It's
so
always a fun
fantastic.
time here.
Yes, and obviously very biased, but you are welcome back anytime.
Thank you very much.
And we love to see you, and we love to hang out with you. And for all the years, it's always been great. Thank you to the Ascot Awards and all the winners.
yes,
for
and
making
all the
drinking cool
fabulous
again.
whiskeys.
I only found out drinking is cool. Like
Did
this
you
is only
just find
recently.
out?
Yeah.
What's cool now is knowing how to drink.
Oh yes.
Drinking's always been cool.
That's
It
what
used
I
to be
thought.
cool to not know shit about it and to just drink to get drunk. Now it's cool to actually know what
Yeah,
you're
you gotta
consuming.
be like
and
a nerd,
consciousness about what you consume is the new thing.
booze
It
nerd.
started in food and now it's made its way to
Yeah,
spirits. And
Some
cocktails.
people call it pretentious. Other people call it delicious.
Or just being accountable for oneself.
Also that. Thanks to NOTN for keeping us on for another week, maybe. No idea.
Yeah.
Thanks to our radio partners, Garfield, Heathcliff, and Sylvester. Thanks to our home on the interwebs, coplaymedia.com. And thanks, as always, to our family here at Beltway Radio for making us sound as smooth as Trump trying to remember the name of his doctors. All right, where can everybody get you on the social medias and stuff?
Distilled at everything, DEESTILLED, and all of my other accounts and things you can find from that one place.
There you go. And tune into your show. What's your show called?
Soul Palette Podcast.
Spell it for the people.
That is soul, spelled the regular way. Palette is PALATE podcast.
There you go. Check it out. Great show. I'm a big fan, subscriber.
Thank you so very
And then you can find me and the show on the Twitter at ChipChatRR, and you can find us on Facebook or Instagram at RipChipChat, and you can, of course, find us every Thursday night here on Beltway Radio and beyond. I'm Chip, that's D, that's Brian. You've been listening to Chip Chat on Beltway Radio and beyond.
Sweeps.
There you go.
Trump promises political violence, but no hers. MTG and Shapiro try to rap, but don't rehearse. These right-wing nuts can't get any better, just worse. Tez and Chip out here trying to save the republic. Like Tez on the golf course, it ain't private, just public. When we have a drink in the bar, it's not beer, it's a public. It's hard to get something to rhyme with this subject. If we get famous, we can give a shout out to Brian. To get us out on time is what he'd be trying. The show is like a custom feathered avian that knows words. How can we stay late when our guest is early bird? In conclusion, the message is to go out and serve folks, whether that's through art, music, or if you just tell jokes. We seek to medicate your ears, hope you eradicate your fears. And thanks for sticking with us through all of these years.